In this video, I'm going to show you how to make buttonholes on your sewing machine without a buttonhole maker. For this video, I've used sample fabric to explain how to do this, and this piece of fabric with the buttons represents the side of your garment or a tote or whatever that the buttons are attached to. So this gives us the distance between the buttons. This fabric sample, there are actually two pieces, and this shows how to make the buttonholes without a buttonhole attachment for your sewing machine. You will need two pieces of fabric, and I like to say put right sides together. Right sides is the side of the fabric that would be outside of your garment. Some people call it pretty side. Put pretty sides together. But you will need your fabric, and the fabric that the buttonholes are made in, you will need 2 layers of fabric. You'll understand why here in a minute. You're also going to need a pen or a fabric marker, a straight edge like a ruler. This is a hem tape, or even you can use the straight edge of a card. You're going to need 2 straight pins. So the first thing you do is measure where you want your buttonholes to actually be. So I'm going to lay the button fabric and I'm going to fold it like this so that the buttons stick off the edge of the fold. And I'm going to lay those down on my sample in the center of the sample fabric. Then you'll just make little marks on either side of the buttonhole. On either side of the button is what I meant to say. So now you can see there are 4 little marks that determines the length of the buttonhole. Then, using a straight edge, you'll want to draw a line right through the middle of that. Just lay it down and draw a line right through the middle like this. So now you know where the middle of the buttonhole is, but you also want this line to extend to the edge of your fabric sample like this, all the way to the edge of the fabric sample. Now, if you have been sewing for years and years and years, you probably won't need to mark this. It's just a straight line. But if you're a beginner learning to make buttonholes, you probably will want to mark that. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to sew through both pieces of fabric, and I'm going to pin it together so it doesn't slip around. Now remember, I need 2 buttonholes because I have 2 buttons. And I made 4 marks on either side of the button. So now what we're going to do on our sewing machine, we're going to sew a straight line. And when we get to this first mark, we're going to stop the sewing machine. We're going to put our needle in and out to tie a knot. We're going to skip over to this mark, and we're going to take our needle in and out, reverse our machine to tie a knot, and we're going to stitch down to this mark. And then we'll lift our needle and we'll reinsert our needle here, and then sew on down. So you will not have a stitch, even though this line is here, you will not have a stitch between these marks where we made the button, where we marked the button. Now I'm lifting my presser foot, I'm reinserting the needle at that line, back stitching. Now I'm sewing down to the next line for the next button, and I'm back stitching. Lifting the presser foot, and I'll reinsert the needle at the next little button line, back stitch, and now I'm proceeding to the end of the fabric sample down the straight line that I drew. So now this is what it looks like. See, it looks like I just sewed a line all the way down the fabric, but look what happens when I open this. When I open these two fabrics and expose the pretty side, the right side of the fabric, now I have a buttonhole here and a buttonhole right here. So now you would want to smooth this out with a iron. You would want to iron that flat. But watch. So let's pretend that this is the side of the garment or the tote bag. Whatever you're making that needs buttons, this is the button side, and this is the side that needs the buttonholes. Let's see if these fit the way they're supposed to. And they do. Yay! Okay, so that went right through the hole exactly like it was supposed to. Now, obviously, depending on what you're making, you will have to finish this seam some way. You may end up stitching down this to attach this to whatever you've made. But that's how you make buttonholes. It's very easy. All you need are your pins to keep your fabric from slipping, your marking utensil. I just think this looks so nice and crisp. Obviously, I've used black thread against the white fabric so you could see exactly how to do this, but there are so many applications for this technique, and I wanted you to see it.